Welcome to the Merch Minds podcast, where we discuss everything about the Merch by Amazon business and the print-on-demand industry. Here are your hosts, Glen and Yong.
What is up, everybody? Merch Minds podcast episode number 7. My name is Glen with the YouTube channel Hustler Hacks. I sell on Merch by Amazon, and so does my tag team partner, Yong.
Let me tell you something, brother. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins. Hey, that was pretty good, huh?
It was pretty good. I tagged you in.
Huh?
We gotta win this match.
Oh my gosh, man! I actually impressed myself with that one, man.
I like that one.
Yeah, that was awesome. But yes, guys, this is number 7. Thank you for all the feedbacks and comments. And again, guys, if you guys haven't done so, please, if you want me and Glenn to continue with this podcast, please go to iTunes, leave us some comments, some feedback, a review, whether it's positive or negative. We're willing to learn and hopefully improve the show for you guys. But yeah,
let us know.
So Glenn.
This show is going to be action-packed.
It is. Yeah, man. We got Hulk Hogan in the house.
Hulk Hogan in the house talking about license agreements and terms.
Yeah, actually, that actually hurt my throat, man. I got to go get a drink of water, but that was kind of rough. Oh, my gosh. Jeez.
I don't know how he did it for so long. Actually, he still probably talks like that. So,
hey, that's old school, man. If you guys know who we're talking about, no, please. I'm sure most people will, though. Yeah. So, Glenn, you're the baller here. Out of between us two, you're the baller. How's your merch business going?
Well, I uploaded a video a couple of weeks back on my goals. My goal is 50K profit for my first full year of merch.
Mm-hmm. And how's that looking?
And right now we're on track. It looks like we're going to meet that goal. I think I'm really kind of wondering what's going to happen in December. Like, that's like one of the main things. Like, man, how is that going to go? You know, we already know how Q4 is, you know, on FBA, eBay,
for toys and all that.
Yeah. But merch, this is the first time. So I'm pumped for it, but I don't know. I want to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, wait, so you're at the 8,000 mark, right?
Yeah, that's my tier right now is 8,000.
Okay. Are you still actively designing shirts?
I am, and it is gonna take a good while, you know, to fill up that 8,000. I mean, if I could fill up like 5,000, I'd feel real good, and I think my numbers would double. But I don't know how long that's gonna take or what kind of work and effort it's gonna take to put that in there. But oh man, that'd just be super exciting to get 5,000 around that range, but 5,000 out of the 8,000 done, but I'm still under the 3,000 live shirt range. So
okay, so now do you think at some point, I mean, obviously you enjoy doing graphic design, you have a background in graphic design, and you designed each and every single one of your shirts. At some point, you think you will outsource your designs, or you think you just continue doing it yourself?
I had someone that was helping me a little bit, especially when I was going out of town or maybe a little bit, busy here and there. That helps us out also with the family business. So kind of like a little side project for her to kind of help me a little bit with it. But for the most part, you know, I am 98% designing on myself, and I think I'm going to keep it that way just because I just love doing it. And if I didn't love doing, what I do every single day, then you know, you're just going to lose a passion for things. You're not going to want to do it. And I love doing graphic design, and I've heard it all the time too, because people have told me like, or asked me, are you going to outsource this stuff? And I love doing it. So, you know, I'm going to keep doing it.
Okay. Well, let's see. I'm still at 500.
Yeah.
Shirts. I think it's going to take me at least about another month or two before I get to the next tier, which is 1,000, I believe, right? because it's
Yeah.
always pretty much double what you're
Yeah.
currently at.
Hmm.
Let's see. As far as my update for the concert, the not the concert shirt, but the band shirt that I
Yeah.
mentioned a couple of episodes back. Sales have been kind of not what I expected. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if this person was legit. I mean, I think she is legit.
Yeah.
I mean, just based
Making
on
the time
her.
and effort to call you.
Yeah, I mean, who would do that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but not just that, but just the whole, uh, looking at her social media, uh, pages and stuff like that. And for those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, go back to episode, was it 5, and you guys will hear my story in episode 5 about what I'm talking about. I don't want to go into too much details, but yeah, just go back to episode 5 and you guys can hear that story.
What do you think about like with okay, let's say when you do tier up, you're doing all that. Are you going to be outsourcing?
So this is my goal, man. I'm glad you asked that because, currently, first of all, it seems like my business, well, I keep saying business, but my merch business is growing on a regular basis. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm constantly seeing my numbers grow as far as what I'm taking home. So it's growing. If I can at some point be making 5K per month, and that's net, not gross.
Okay.
Um, if I can do 5K a month, then I think I will maybe consider hiring and outsourcing a designer. But I'm kind of
Yeah.
like you, where I enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing the research. But I'll be honest with you, man. I'm one of those guys, man. If someone else was to do something, I'll probably find something wrong with it and have them redo it. And
Yeah.
at that point, it's like, you might as well just do your own design. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
Which
see.
is good. I mean, you're picky about your designs. You also want to make sure. I think a lot of people forget about this too, is that remembering about the customer and like how do they feel about the design and do they really like the design? Does it look good? Are you putting the time and
Mhm,
the effort into it that you want to make sure it does look good? I mean, they're the
mhm.
ones buying it and wearing it. I mean, that's a huge deal. Not just
Yeah,
about making money 24/7.
yeah. And that's a good point because there's this one shirt that I made. It was one of my best sellers at one point, and some of the reviews that I've gotten were really positive. They were saying that they would wear it out, and people were just giving them compliments on the T-shirt that I had designed.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and as a designer, that makes you feel happy. It makes you feel like you've done your job as a designer,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if people are starting conversations and they're talking about a design that I've done. I mean, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that too, especially when we talked about it before, how someone left like a 5-star review and they had like a picture of them wearing the shirt that I designed. Like, I just thought that
Mm,
was cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But anything else as far
I
as
think that's it as far as like that stuff goes with all the sales and everything. I know that this is like this topic has been talked about. Well, actually, it's been uh, highly requested and emailed to me on like when are we going to talk about this stuff because it's a huge deal. A
it
lot of
is?
people don't know everything that goes into this. So we're going to be talking about license agreements, what you can and cannot use when it comes to fonts, vector graphics,
Even
stock
photos. Yeah,
images, yeah,
yeah,
stock photos, what's good for commercial use, commercial purposes. Are you allowed to use this or not? This a lot of stuff to get into when it
yeah,
comes to
yeah.
stuff, and a lot of
And
questions too about it.
and you know what? I bet you after this episode, a majority of the people are. I'm not going to say they're going to take action because let's be honest, not everyone's going to take action. They're going to hear what we say and then they'll probably just let it go over their head and uh, just continue on with their own business. But I'm almost positive that a majority of the listeners probably fall into this category as far as our topic on this.
Yeah.
And there's a huge misconception out there. People thinking that when a graphic or an image and fonts, that if it's free, that they can use it for commercial purposes, and that's completely far from the truth.
Yeah, and then even on the opposite end, if you pay for it, you can use it for whatever you want, which is also not even necessarily true.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've actually seen that too. But and there's a lot of websites out there, right? I think Pixabay is one. There's
Yeah,
a
I
bunch.
actually got a couple of them in that I actually just copied and pasted their agreements so that we can actually go through them. Some of the more popular websites. So Pixabay actually was or actually is my first one that I put on my list that we can
Mhm.
talk about.
Yeah, Okay. Well then, since that's on your list, let's go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, and Pixabay is probably one of the main ones that you've heard of before. I'm sure everybody has heard about this one. You know,
Yeah.
they talk about how everything they have pretty much is free to use and it's under the Creative Commons license. So and everything you upload or people that upload images or videos or graphics or something on there is open for anybody to use. So have you used this site before? Not necessarily for merch, but for in general.
I've personally never used it.
Okay.
I've seen it, but I've personally never used it. I'll be honest with you. At one point I did think about maybe downloading some stuff and using it, but to be honest with you, in my opinion, I think a majority of the stuff on there is low quality.
Yeah.
There might be some graphics within that site that are, decent and worth using. Um, but in my opinion, I think they're pretty low quality, first of all.
You have to sign up. If you haven't used it before, I've actually used it not for merch, but for other graphics that I've done. And if you do use it, you can sign up, and then you can download like the highest resolution of that photo. If you want to use it, if you don't sign up, you can still download the photo at different sizes, but you're not going to get the biggest size available unless you sign up for the site.
Hmm.
And under like limitations, so they talk about using images and videos and everything. As we already talked about, it's one of the well-known sites for having free, images and other graphics and stuff to download. They say on here on limitations on one of their points, since Pixabay does not require a written model release for each image or video that shows identifiable people, we cannot guarantee that you will be able to use the content for any purpose you like.
What does that mean? Oh my gosh!
That's pretty
Speak
crazy.
English.
All these technical terms. What do we do? My head's gonna explode.
Yeah. Well,
And
so this is my understanding, okay? And and we said this 100 times. This is just based on our own personal experience. We are not experts. But anything. Well, first of all, you have to read the license, okay? You have to read the license. Just
for
because
every
it's
site.
for everything, just because it's free doesn't mean you can use it for commercial purposes. I bet you a lot of those images or vector graphics that you download, if it comes with a license, if you actually read the license, I will bet you a lot of them will say it's only for personal use only.
Yeah, most of them are for personal use. Which nobody has a problem with anything like that. But
Yeah.
and to follow up that one, they actually follow up again with that same bullet points. Certain images or videos may be subject to additional copyrights, property rights, trademarks, etc., and may require the consent of a third party or the license of these rights. Pixabay does not represent or make any warranties that it owns or licenses any of the mentioned, nor does it grant them.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you know what, guys? That just you reading that and me listening to it, it sounds very, very overwhelming, and it just sounds, really, uh, what's the word that I'm looking for? It just sounds very it's just overwhelming. I
Yeah, and
think. Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, like my example was like, I'm on the website right now on Pixabay. I typed in football as my example.
Hmm.
Um, and I scroll down and there's a picture of Andre Johnson when he used to play for the Texans. Um,
You can't
who
do
knows who
that.
took this?
Yeah.
Yeah, who took this photo? I'm not too sure. Someone did upload it, and it says on here free for commercial use. That's what the guy put, on here on that actual page that you can actually see the photo. Now, if Andre Johnson sees this photo on a shirt, he's gonna be like, "Hey, where's my royalty? Since you're using
Exactly.
my likeness, this is me on there, and you do the same thing. If I had some Yong shirts that I uploaded on my merch account, Yong would be like, "Hey, you're making some pretty good." I saw the rank on there, ranked 120 in clothing. I was like, "Man, Yong's got a lot of fans." He'd be like, "Hey, where's my royalty? You're using my
First of
face."
all, first of all, I don't think that would ever happen. In fact, I think your BSR will probably be in the negatives, because I don't think anyone would buy a shirt with my face on it. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's a good example. Andre Johnson. I'm looking at the same photo that you're looking at because I'm on Pixabay myself as we speak. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's even colleges, the
Uh-huh.
college logos. You can't sell that. Okay. I earlier in the early stages, I was trying to create a shirt, and in the description of my shirt, I had the word Stanford University in it,
Oh, okay.
and they rejected it. They rejected it.
Yeah.
Amazon rejected it. So, I mean, just because your design that you got from Pixabay or any other site that claims you can use their graphics, if it goes through, you know, when you do get busted, you can't blame Amazon and say, well, they approved it, because at the end, you're the content creator, and you're the one that initially uploaded it. Um,
Yeah, and you can't blame Pixabay either.
exactly. And I've said this 100 times. Ignorance is not an excuse. You have to read the license, and that goes for more. That goes for everything, right? It goes for the vectors, like the images and the vectors that we're discussing currently, but it goes, that goes for the fonts as well, which we'll get into shortly. But anything,
Yeah.
anything more about the images and stuff?
That was kind of like their main point that I got from it. As far as like they're using images and videos portion of like their policy, but I mean that pretty much told you right, right when I read it to you. I mean, you already knew. I mean, the additional
Hmm.
copyrights, property rights, and trademarks. I mean,
Yeah.
it just does not mean anything. And as they said too, at the very bottom, at the very end, nor does Pixabay, grant, you know, the the usage of it. I mean, you're pretty much on your own when it comes to that stuff.
And it also goes for, since we're talking about this, this also goes for um, paid images or paid vectors. Just because you pay for something doesn't mean you can use it for commercial purposes. There's sites like Creative Market. There's a bunch of other ones out there where you can actually pay. I think it's Shutterstock or iStock Photo. Those
Yeah.
sites sell vector graphics, um, and a lot of people buy just the standard license, and in their mind, they think just because they paid for it, they can now use it for commercial purposes. Again, that is not the case. You know, you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble in the long run, especially if the original artist finds out that you're selling their design. A standard license, again, you guys will have to go read it yourself, but a standard license, even if you pay for it, you can only use it for your own personal use only. Now, if you buy an extended license, you can use it for commercial purposes, but some of them do have restrictions, like you can only sell up to 500 shirts.
Mhm.
Again, it just depends on who you buy it from. So the point that we're trying to make is whether it's free or whether you paid for it, don't assume you can use it for commercial purposes. It's your responsibility to read the license.
Yeah, and it's like you're reading my mind. Like you mentioned Shutterstock. That was
Mm-hmm.
my next one.
Okay.
That was
Oh
my
man,
next one to talk about. I know you're just like on point today, son. That's what I like to hear all the time. Yong just knows what's up. You're
dude,
talking about Shutterstock.
I'm going out and getting it, man.
Yes, you are. So Shutterstock. You talked about the standard license. You were like right on point when we were talking about the standard license. I'm bringing it up right now, looking at them. So they have a standard license and they have the enhanced license.
Mm-hmm.
The enhanced license, the duration of the license, the number of countries you can use the images, digital reproduction, such as website views, ebook downloads. Same thing you're talking about. Merchandise, they mentioned that too. T-shirts, keychains, backpacks, anything like that. They're talking about that. Physical reproductions, books, magazines, advertising posters, all that stuff. So enhanced license is unlimited when it comes to that stuff. As far as their certain website, copies of web or print templates permitted, copies for merchandise for sale permitted, but that's only for Shutterstock. We're not talking about any of the other ones yet.
Yeah, it varies website to website.
It varies, and that's the enhanced one compared to the standard license. Huge price difference when you're talking about the standard. So standard on Shutterstock right now, professional, 1 year, 750 images, $200 a month. Now you might be saying to yourself, man, $200 a month, but 750 images. You're like, 750 images that I can slap onto a shirt and sell it. Not true, because the enhanced plans, which a print run of 500,000 or more, used for TV, online video, and film, used for merchandise for sale, two images, $200.
Wow. So yeah, I mean that's a huge difference. And here's the thing, guys. Don't just because it's expensive for a commercial license or an extended license, don't be afraid to spend that money. I mean, if you guys just in your heart you believe you have a winning idea, and all you need is that one particular graphic, go ahead and spend that money, because it's a business expense. Okay, now your shirts might not sell, and if it doesn't, don't come back to us and said, oh well, you told me to go buy that license. That's the risk of doing business. But again, if you wanted to hire a legitimate graphic designer, well, how much do they cost an hour, right? So you got to do what's best for you. If you feel like you can do your own design, but you need that one particular vector graphic that's going to cost you a price of an extended license, well, then go ahead and spend that money. But again, just in the long run, you have to read the license.
And that's a huge price difference, like we talked about. I mean, 750 images for $200, comparing it to $200 for two images. But if you do spend that money, like Yong said, you do have all of that in writing, that you can use it for what you want. Merchandise for sale, that's exactly what you want it for. If you do the other one, you want to do $200 a month and get those 750 images, you know what you're getting yourself into, and you cannot use it for merchandise and for reselling and stuff like that. So look at the license, read it thoroughly. You don't want to get in trouble with any of this stuff, because believe me, when you start selling shirts, that's when these people start knocking on your door like, oh, you're making money here, huh?
Yeah,
I mean, a piece of that.
I mean, Amazon might approve it, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to get in trouble down the road. I mean, all it takes is that one artist to see that you're selling their design, and once they contact Amazon, and who knows?
Yeah, who knows from there?
Amazon doesn't ask questions. They're quick to take action. They'll suspend you, and then you have to go through the whole process of trying to get reinstated.
Yeah.
So
And you made a
be
good
careful.
point when you talked about paying for graphic designers per hour, how much does that cost, and everything like that. That leads me to the next one, which is Fiverr. A lot of people want to go through Fiverr. They want to talk about, hey, $5, it's cheap. They'll design a shirt for you. You get the files. And then on the other end, the people that contact me to design shirts for them are, hey, can you fix this for me? The design looks like garbage. Hey, can you do this for me? Off. Hey, they told me it was gonna be done in 2 or 3 days. It's still not done yet. I've heard so many good, but I can tell you the truth, mostly bad things when it comes to the Fiverr stuff. So my question to you, Yong, is let's say I purchase $5 design from somebody, I get it back, I think it looks awesome, I upload it, next thing you know, it gets rejected. Who do I place that blame on? Myself, Fiverr, or maybe the person that designed it for me?
It's definitely the designer. So here's my experience with Fiverr, okay? And I think you might agree with me, Glenn, for someone who has a design background, okay? Fiverr pretty much destroyed, okay, the graphic design market here in the US. And the reason being is because you have 12-year-old kids in Southeast Asia putting up, making designs for $5, right?
Yeah.
But they're not good designs, okay? They're not good designs, and if I guess the point that I'm trying to make is you get what you pay for, okay? You pay $5, you're gonna get a $5 design, okay? If you want good quality design, you have to pay that price, okay? You have to pay that $35 an hour or $50 an hour, whatever your graphic designer charges you.
Yeah.
Fiverr is you're getting a cookie cutter design, okay? Stuff that's probably already been done before and they just tweaked it somehow.
Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't. And in the best way for you guys to safeguard yourself would be to, if you're going to go that route, if you're on a strict budget and you say, oh, I can't afford a real graphic designer, and you want to go that Fiverr route, I would write a contract and just, have whoever you hire on Fiverr sign off on the contract saying that those are legitimate designs. So that way, if anything does happen in the future, if someone comes at you saying, oh, you stole my design, we'll say, no, I got this contract. My designer from Fiverr signed it, and he claimed that it's his own personal design. So that way, then you're out of the picture, right? And now it becomes a battle between the person who claims it's their design and the designer that you hired on Fiverr.
Yeah, and I agree with Young to get some type of some kind of contract, something in writing, so you are protected. But
Exactly.
it also kind of falls on you at that point to where, okay, well, if you want to trust in Fiverr, you're going to trust in one of the $5 designers to get this done for you. Okay, fine, pay for that. But you're going to have to do the research on, is this trademarked or not when it comes to maybe the idea, the tagline. You may not know about the graphics because, it could just be like, hey, well, that looks cool. You're not really too sure about it. But maybe just in general, the whole thing, the whole aspect of the shirt, do your research on it. Make sure you're safe.
Absolutely. So, how about fonts? Do you want to talk about fonts?
Yeah, let's get into fonts.
I
love fonts.
Oh man, fonts are my favorite. Or do you have any more advice on vector graphics and stuff?
Well, I did have one more, and this one is I don't know if you ever heard of it. Free Pick. They do have vector
I never heard
graphics.
that one.
Yeah, and that one is also free that you can use, but you can't use it for commercial purposes. They have I know it's an extended license. I don't know what they call it here. I'm trying to look at it. A premium license is what they call it. So now I'm looking at their plans and purposes and things you can kind of read over. So let's see. Trying to read something good in here. You are not allowed to use any of FreePix images as a principal element if you are willing to use your resources for any commercial purpose. This is applied for both free and premium users. What's interesting about this website is that they actually show how you can use their designs. So one of their images where they show you where it's bad is with someone just straight up downloaded, let's say, some type of tagline, go out and get it, and it was made into like a typography type thing, and it looks cool, and it has a cool font, and has all this cool stuff, banners, I don't know, something cool with it, and you just download it and you slap it onto the shirt. That's one that they do not want you to do that. They don't want you to just their example right here is actually like a lobster or a crab or something. I don't know. And it's just like a vector image. It's like a cartoon.
Okay.
And they show the t-shirt and it's just put on there. Like you downloaded it, you put it on there. So they don't want that to happen. They want to make sure that the elements that you select from our image are not used in your own design. So what they want you to do is design around it, or maybe that's just part of the design. So they show the correct way is that now they have this little guy on like a little island type thing, and now he has like stars around it with an umbrella and a sun, and it says "Ready for summer," and you. So now it has like a tagline in there and all this other elements in there. So like this is not just one little part of the design. Oh, now he's just one part of the design. He's not the full design.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never even heard of FreePic, but I'm gonna have to check that out. But
yeah,
basically what you're saying is you can't just download it and then upload it onto Merch saying, okay, here's my design. You have to add other elements, maybe tweak it up a little bit, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
so
interesting.
You have to tweak it up, or you're going to add other elements around it that you personally designed to make it into this new design.
Okay, that's actually interesting. That's something I need to check out.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it too is that they say if you have any doubts related to the usage of our resources, please contact us. We'll be glad to help you. So at least that's cool that they want to help you any way they can, because you know how some of these websites can get, I mean, all these technical terms, you know, it's not even English to you anymore. You're like, what does this even mean?
Exactly.
You know? So at least here you can actually contact somebody and hopefully get, you know, the answers you want instead of just kind of guessing. Because then if you start guessing or assume, then you're gonna get in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's get into fonts, typography. Now these are, I love typography. I love typography design, but unfortunately, guys, you know, it's the same scenario. You can't just download fonts, even though it's free, thinking that you can use it for commercial purposes. There's a lot of websites out there. Glenn, tell me if this is on your list. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Dafont.com.
Dafont, bro. I'm using Dafont.
Okay, so if you got, that's DAFONT.com. Okay, if you guys go onto that website, there's a lot of free fonts you can download. Okay, and in fact, a majority of them are free. But again, don't fall into the trap of just because it's free, I can use it for commercial purposes. If you download some of those fonts, it comes with a license. And a lot of those licenses will say only for personal use only. Okay? If they don't have a license, well, you have to do some more research. Figure out who designed the font, contact them, find out if you can use it for commercial purposes. You know, we've said this how many times now? Ignorance is not an excuse. And if you can't find any information on it, I wouldn't even bother using it. I just don't want to get into that trouble.
Yeah, you don't want to put yourself into that position. And Dafont, they actually have like a small, it's like small little letters too. A little bit about their license that is on the bottom of their homepage. And fonts presented on this website are their author's property.
Mm-hmm.
Demo versions, public domain. They talk about some of the other ones. The license mentioned above, the download button is just an indication. Please look at the README files in the archives or check the indicated author's website for details and contact him or her if in doubt. If the author or license indicated is indicated, that's because we don't have any information and doesn't mean that it's free.
Yeah, thank you. That's pretty much what I just said. And I'm on Dafont.com right now, and I'm looking at some fonts, and it tells you right there. It tells you right there in black and white, free for personal use. Free for personal use. Here's one that says donate to author, meaning if you donate to the person that created the font, I believe you can use it for commercial purposes. But again,
Yeah, they can give you that little
yeah.
approval.
Yeah, exactly. So again, you have to read the license. And there's a bunch of other websites out there that provide free fonts, and I'm trying to remember them on the top of my head. I think one is called fontbundles.com. I think they do both free and premium fonts. But again,
Squirrel.
What is it?
Font Squirrel.
Font Squirrel, yeah, Font Squirrel. My favorite one is myfonts.com. Now, if you guys go to myfonts.com, those are 90% premium fonts. You have to pay for those. But the good thing about premium fonts is that if you do pay for them, chances are you will get an extended license. And they're not cheap. Some fonts could be $5. I've seen fonts as high as $200. It just depends. But it depends on what you want to do with your design, right? I mean, if you need that one particular font and it's $200, you have to pay for it. But the good thing is, you'll have that extended license and you can use it for other projects.
Exactly. And on Dafont.com, you talked about like the donate to author buttons and all that. You'll see this stuff on the right-hand side when you look at the fonts, and it'll show you. You can just download. I mean, you can download any of these if you want. You can download whatever you want. The thing is like when and how can you use it? So if you download the font, inside the download, you'll get the folder, the zip folder, and then you'll have the kind of like the little author's agreement on there, or what you should or shouldn't be using it for. So the little README file, as it said, will tell you, hey, this is free for commercial use, free for personal use, or you can use it if you donate to the author or something like that. But read that file. You really should read it for every single font that you download.
Yeah, and like I said previously, if they don't have a file, I wouldn't even bother using it unless you can actually do some research and find that license file. But if you can't, I wouldn't even bother taking that risk.
Yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to this stuff. And you can even, what I like to do, if you go to the search bar, you can even go through, they have like a little browsing, they go by categories, holiday, dingbat, script, all that stuff. So if you click on one, they do have like a little search bar in the middle. You can click on more options. When you do that, you can click on or check mark public domain or 100% free, and you can just search those, so you don't have to see all the other ones and go through pages and pages and pages of fonts looking for the free ones. You can just narrow them down, just the ones you can use.
Yeah. So, and if you guys do pay for fonts, guys, again, that is a business expense. That is a write-off. You can, save the receipt. Every time you buy a font, they will send you a receipt. Okay, save that receipt and then just give it to your CPA at the end of the year when you do your taxes.
Yeah, and nothing wrong with buying fonts, especially some of the creative ones out there. Using, I don't know, of course, like in graphic design school, Most of the time people only use a certain amount of fonts, which really it's only like 8 to 10 really popular fonts, that people use. Helvetica, Trade Gothic. I mean, there's just like,
Arial, yeah.
Arial. Yeah. There's quite a bit of them that people really use almost for a lot of things that are just, the most popular fonts. And I think when it comes to using fonts, you want to make sure that you can read it. I mean, you don't want to use fonts where you don't even know what it says. I mean,
Right. No, yeah, the only reason I'm laughing is because there's some really nice script fonts out there. Visually they look really appealing, but you have no idea what it says. It's not legible. You're like, I mean, it looks nice, but what the heck does that say?
yeah, and if somebody can't read it or make out what it is, it's probably not going to do well. Not only on t-shirt designs, but in general, billboards or
Mhm.
flyers or like, what does that say?
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't
absolutely,
want to. So,
absolutely.
yeah, those are like the main. I think some of the more popular websites that people use.
And there's a bunch
Um,
of them out there, right? I
oh yeah,
mean,
there's a lot of
yeah. Um, I mean, the point that we're trying to make again. I mean, we've said this how many times now throughout the episode. Regardless of what website you guys go on and download vectors or fonts, it's your responsibility to read the license, and make sure that that you can use it for commercial purposes. There's a lot of I'm in a couple of Facebook groups, and I've seen some comments from members of the group saying, "Oh man, go to this website. You can download like 50 fonts. It's all free." Yeah, but have you read the license?
Yeah,
And if you
exactly.
haven't, you better. Otherwise, you might get into some trouble.
Yep. Doesn't matter if you have to read it on screen, print it out, make it huge. You do whatever you can, but you better read that bad boy.
That's right. Protect yourself at all times.
Yep, you have to. And fonts, just as important as the vector. I mean, vector art is really interesting to me on people downloading them, just because as a graphic designer, how long it takes to create, especially if it's like a complex design. I
Hmm.
used to work on posters for weeks to get something really, really cool vector art, 100% drawn with the pen tool from me.
Hmm.
I mean, it takes time, especially something that really, really looks good. And now in this day and age of the internet, of course, you can just download someone's vector art that they put on there, and there's some pretty good ones on there too. I mean, one of the things that I told a lot of graphic designers as far as like making extra income is creating like patterns, vector arts. You can even do like invitations, typography. People sell these files on Etsy. If
I
you're
didn't
a
know that.
good graphic designer, you can sell these files on Etsy, and that you're allowing other people to use for commercial use or what are personal use, anything like that. So they do get the agreement from you.
Hmm.
And I let other designers know, because this was something that I was in between. I think the FBA, this is way before merge, in between the eBay and FBA stuff. I was already selling on Etsy, but I was noticing these people that were selling original graphic designs on Etsy. It was something that I was really, really looking into. I was
Okay.
like, people are making some pretty good money doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that you can sell your original design and license on websites. I didn't realize you can do it on Etsy. So that's
Yeah, and that's
interesting.
that's completely passive income, just like merch is, because it's only a file. You're not even
Exactly.
shipping off physical items. So I
Yeah.
was like, man, but some of these are really, really impressive. If you want to check them out and you can use them for commercial use, go to Etsy and find out more information if you'd like some of the designs on there, and see if you can use them, because they really do have some really good graphic designers on there with some pretty good looking designs in their files, and take a look at that.
Oh, you learn something new every day. I didn't realize you can do that on Etsy.
There you go, Young.
Yeah,
Something new every day.
every day, every day. Wow. So that's I think that's pretty much the episode, Glenn. I mean, unless you have
Go. No, I thought it was a really good show because I think it's very informative. I
Very
know,
informative.
yeah, I think very useful for a lot of people that may not know a lot about the license stuff. I think it's extremely important.
Right. And guys, if you guys did find this very informative, the best thing you can do, and we say this at the end of every episode, the best thing you can do for me and Glenn is go on iTunes and leave us a comment, leave us a review. Tell us how much you enjoy the show. Tell us how much you hate the show. So
Yeah,
that
if you
way
don't
we
like
can.
my voice, that's fine. Let me
Yeah,
know.
I mean, so that way we can improve and we can make changes. Uh, you know, um, Again, we've said this before. This is a new platform for us, so we're still learning how to edit, and the whole process of putting out a podcast is new, and so we promise we will get better. But we want to make sure that you guys are also listening to us, because we don't want to be here spending our time doing this podcast if no one's listening. So
Yeah, we
please,
really want to help some people out,
yeah.
especially all of these merch sellers. I mean, it's just an awesome opportunity, and you just want to follow all of the terms and conditions with everything so you can keep selling. We don't know how long this platform is going to last, but let's say it does last the next 10, 20, 30 years, and you're selling, starting now all the way until then, making good money. Who does not want that?
Yeah. So again, guys, please let us know how we're doing. If you have questions, though, just contact us directly. But if you have any comments, we would appreciate it if you just go on iTunes and do that. You can find me. Again, I've said this in previous episodes. I'm currently working on my website. It is taking some time because I can only commit like an hour per day to it because I'm busy working on other projects
And merch.
and merch. So, but you can contact me. My email is hybrid, like a hybrid car, style at gmail.com. Glenn, how can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube channel Hustler Hacks. A couple of weeks ago, I did make a video about utilizing the design area. If you want to improve your shirts, I would definitely check out that video. You can contact me, hustlerhacks1@gmail.com. That is the number one. And I'll get back to you through email, or you can go to hustlerhacks.com. I have you can fill out some of the little square little entry spaces you can to put your email, your name, all that info. You can ask me any questions, and then it'll shoot straight to my email so I can answer that as soon as I can.
Cool. And yeah, hey, if there's anyone that you guys would like to hear on the podcast as well, let us know. I mean, we're always looking for people to interview, so let us know as well as far as who you want on the show.
Yeah,
But
any tier too. Any tier we're welcome, because we like to hear from rookies to mid-range
absolutely,
to the people dominating, because I think we can learn from everybody on this new platform.
everyone, because right now, I mean, compared to Glenn, I'm still compared to Glenn's number. I'm a nobody. So like Glenn said, we can learn from everyone. So again, any suggestions, comments, let us know. But hold on, wait a minute. Before we go,
Oh man,
I want to wait. Hold on, man. So depending on when this podcast comes out, you're either going to be getting married or you're going to be married.
that
So
is true.
yeah, so I would let me be the first one to congratulate you, man. I wish you nothing but the best of luck between you and your wife. I personally haven't had a chance to meet her yet, but I'm sure I will here in the near future.
Yes, sir.
But man, I'm so proud of you, Glenn, and
Thank you, sir.
I would love to come out and pay you guys a visit here someday soon. And yeah, congratulations, man. Best of luck to you.
You know what, brother? Thank you for telling me that. I really appreciate it.
That was weak. That was weak. Come on, man.
Come
You
on.
can't do it. You can't do it like
from
me.
yours in the beginning of the show.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Oh, you know what? All right.
Okay,
You
yeah.
did
See
put me to
that?
shame on that
See,
one.
the more I do it, the more it hurts my throat.
Yeah, you know what? We need you for future podcasts.
Ooh,
A
yeah.
lot of episodes. So yeah, we need that golden voice of yours. So
Okay.
keep that. Get some water because you really need to take care of that voice.
Yeah, but
No, but thank you for congratulating me. It's a
yeah,
huge deal, and you've came by El Paso. You visited me before. I thought it was awesome when you stopped by. Me, you, and my brother, we chilled. We went to go eat everything. So you got to let me know when you come back to El Paso because
of course.
you're more than welcome to
Yeah,
hang out, and we can talk about a whole bunch of stuff.
of course. All right, guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
See you guys. Thanks for listening.